Hello everyone and welcome back to this system series of Star Trek Online. My name is Winters and you are most welcome. So for this episode we are going to talk about the duty officer system. Right, so to start off, you can access the duty officer system by going to the bottom of the minimap here where the mouse is now and click on duty officers. So the obvious question is, what are duty officers? Well, probably the easiest way to look at them is basically they're your crew on your ship. Now, not your bridge officers. You know, when you click on bridge officer abilities in space combat or anything like that. It's the rest of your crew, alright? So, you know, you'll have diplomats and you'll have medics and doctors and you'll have armory specialists and projectile officers and energy weapons officers and all this sort of stuff. So it's all the other members of your crew. And what you can do is you can send those duty officers off on missions. And the missions last for X amount of time. It varies depending on the mission. And once the mission is complete, they will come back and they will reward you with skill points, experience, commendation XP, and usually a little bit of dilithium. In most cases, like say 97% of the time, you will get a little bit of dilithium. Right, so we'll start off here. We can see we have this mission here, and basically this is the outcome. This is what you will get for normal success. Excuse me. So we can see here we get 481 experience points, we get 57 expertise, we get 241 diplomacy XP, and we get 5 dilithium ore. This is what it requires. It needs either a diplomat, counselor, or advisor. It needs a security officer, it needs a bartender, a chef, and an entertainer, as well as 1,000 energy credits. That's what it is going to need in order to, you know, for you to be able to start the mission. If you are missing anything out of the required items, it will be marked up here in red. Okay, so actually I'll just see if I can find one that's in red. No, I don't have one in red. Okay, so to start the mission, all you have to do is click on Plan. And the system will automatically select duty officers, and usually the best type of duty officers out of your available roster. For you, it'll slot them in for you. And again, you can see the outcome for a normal success, what is required, and over here on the right hand side you have the different possible outcomes. So we have a 0% chance of a disaster, we have a 0% chance for a failure, we have a 74% chance of getting a normal success, and we have a 26% chance of getting a critical success. If we do get a critical success, as you can see by the numbers here, they go up quite a bit from the normal success. And down here then we can see the duration. This mission is going to last for 6 hours, and basically, boom, that's all you have to do. You have to just click on begin. And that's it. 6 hours from now, that mission will complete, and you will gain whatever rewards you know, for completing that mission. Something I should have actually mentioned at the start, the duty officer system opens up from level 11. So if you're creating a brand new character, once you hit level 11, you will gain access to the duty officer system, and you will get your first batch of duty officers, which you will use to plan out and carry out different assignments. Right. So to talk about a little bit more about the possible rewards, we can see here this is it says science, and basically all the missions that are listed here are all science duty officer missions. We can see this one here rewards 75 science XP, this one rewards 461 science XP, this one 64 science XP, this one 75 science XP. So you might ask, what is science XP, because if you go down here a little bit further, we can see now we have development, and all the missions are development XP for this one. And if we go down a little bit further, then we have recruitment, and again, this one has recruitment XP. So depending on the type of mission, you will gain a certain type of commendation XP, and there are 11 types of commendations. So if we click on overview here on the top left hand corner, we get a list of all the different commendations. Now when you start off, or when the duty officer system becomes available to you at level 11, all of these will be at rank 0 and 0 progression in all of them, okay? And as you complete duty officer missions for whatever commendation, you will gain that particular commendation XP, and it will slowly start to fill up the bar. And each time it fills the bar, you increase by 1 level or 1 rank. And there is a maximum of 4 ranks for each and every single one of these commendations. If you click on one of the commendations, in this case we're going to click on diplomacy, we can see what we get for each of the different ranks. So rank 1 we get an accolade, we get a title, whoop-de-frickin-do, who cares about that? You know, well, maybe some people do care about titles and ranks and stuff like that, but it's not that important really. Probably the most important thing is here you get a single green quality duty officer. That's a free duty officer that you get just for getting rank 1 in diplomacy. If we get rank 2, again we get an accolade, we get a title. This time we actually get a personal transwarp ability to Deep Space K7. So you know when you're in space and you click on this button here to open the transwarp window, you will have an option to transwarp to K7. Again, you also get another single green quality duty officer as well for reaching rank 2. And we can see here the requirements. So you need 2,500 XP to get to rank 1, and we need 15,000 XP or diplomatic XP to get to rank 2. Rank 3 is 50,000 XP, and rank 4 is 100,000 XP. For rank 3, we get another accolade, we get another title. There's a couple of other little things, but most importantly, this time we get a blue quality duty officer, and we also get a transwarp to Starbase 39er Sierra. Finally, in rank 4, we get another title, another accolade. This time, our transwarp is to Deep Space 9. Sorry, we get a free transwarp to Deep Space 9, and we also get a single bridge officer candidate from an enemy faction. So in this case we're playing on the Federation side, which means that we can get a KDF aligned bridge officer for free. The one that I recommend is Nausicaan Male. It is the best one to go for because he has the pirate trait, which is a space trait. So a little side note there for that. We also get I want to see, where is it? I don't see it there. Right, okay. We'll pick science. Yeah, science does have it. When you get to rank 4 in any of these at all, you also get a single purple quality duty officer, or a very rare quality duty officer. So with 11 different commendations, that's 44 free duty officers that are waiting for you just for leveling these up to rank 4. So that's, you know, that's kind of important, and it's a really good thing in the system, because as you would expect, when you start off with the duty officer system, number one, you don't have many duty officers available, and number two, the ones you do have available aren't really that great anyway, to be perfectly honest. But there's 44 duty officers waiting for you just for leveling these things up, and I strongly recommend that you start off with either diplomatic on the Federation side, or in the case of the KDF side, you don't have diplomatic, you have marauding instead, and unlock these free transwarps that come with it, as well as the duty officers as well, but that's just part of it, you know. Right, so that's why you want to level up the different commendations. As we said earlier, 100,000 XP is the highest, or is rank 4, and that is the highest rank. There is a ceiling on each one of these commendations of 150,000 XP, meaning that you cannot earn beyond 150,000 XP in any one of the different commendations. You can spend additional XP over 100,000. Alright, I'll rephrase that. So for every 10,000 commendation XP above 100,000, you can turn that 10,000 XP in at your fleet starbase for fleet marks. And it's actually not a bad way to earn fleet marks, to be perfectly honest. So if you do have, let's say, diplomatic at 150,000 XP, that means you can turn in the mission 5 times until you reach, 100,000, because 5 tens are 50,000 or 50. What else? Duty officers. By default, or when you start off, your character can do a maximum of 20 duty officer assignments at any one time. You can expand that to 23 duty officer assignments by visiting one of the consoles on the fleet embassy in the shuttle bay, and you can purchase 3 additional slots there with fleet credits. They're a little bit pricey, but an additional 3 duty officer slots isn't that bad, really, to be perfectly honest. So it could be worth it to invest and be able to do extra duty officer missions. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is department heads, and if we click on department heads here on the left hand side, we can see that we have a number of officers over different departments, and when you look at your own screen, you might notice that they actually match your bridge officers. So you can select from your available list of bridge officers anybody you want to be the head of whatever department you want. So let's just pick this guy, for example. Alright, Mr. Potato Head. There, he's my first officer. It doesn't really make a difference who's in charge of what, to be perfectly honest with you. I suppose it's just for a little bit of flavour is the reason why it's there. The important thing, however, is the assignments that come from these department heads, and all you have to do is click on assignments for that particular department head, and they will give you a list of additional duty officer assignments, and they're completely different from the ones that were available on the current map filter or tab that we were looking at there. As we can see here, these ones have a fairly nice amount of engineering XP, some of them here, and I'm actually going to start a couple of them now because they're pretty good for, as we said, engineering XP. And you can go through each and every one of them, and they all have different missions available. Remember what I said earlier, if you were missing anything in order to complete or be able to carry out a duty officer assignment, it will be in red. As you can see here, we're missing shape-shifting lockets in order to do this mission, and it's kind of in red, so it means that we're missing something. It also has this icon here, which when you mouse over it says missing required items. Right, I'm just going to set up a couple of more missions really quick, see if we get any good ones. Alright, we'll move on to tactical. Now, you may not always have, or no, a department head might not always have missions available for you. It is possible that a department head just simply doesn't have any missions, and there's nothing you can do about that. What I do want to say about missions, though, is if you look on the left-hand side of the window in the bottom right left-hand corner, and just quickly get these finished. See here, it says sector update, and that means in 19 minutes the sector is going to update and there will be a new batch of missions available. So every 4 hours the sector updates, and there's a rotating cycle of available duty officer missions, and like I said, every 4 hours they rotate and you get a new batch. The next thing that I want to talk about is again actually to do with the list of available missions. Depending on your location, you will have a certain list of duty officer missions available. So for example, I'm on Earth Space Dock, okay, and these are the missions that are available for Earth Space Dock. Okay, now if I beam up to my ship, you will see that there will be a slightly different set of duty officer missions available for being in Sol system space compared to what was available on Earth Space Dock itself. Whenever it decides to load. There we go. So see, now we have a number of diplomatic missions, we still have some science, we've got some military missions, we've got some exploration, we got trade, and we got development. Now some of the missions may be the same as what we had when we were on Earth Space Dock, but as you can see, there is now a completely different set of missions available for us under current map, because we are now in a new area. And the sector update affects everything game-wide. Okay, so the sector update is everywhere in game, the sector updates and the missions update. Right, next thing, I want to... Actually, do you know what? I think the best would be actually to warp out of Sol system, because this is kind of one of those things that, you know, once you see it, it'll be much easier to understand. So basically, when you get out into sector space, or as some people call quadrant space, we look at the map here, and we are in the beta quadrant. This is the beta quadrant. This is our current location here up at Sol system. And even though we can't really see it, the beta quadrant map and the alpha and delta and gamma maps are divided up into what they call sector blocks. So this sector, and this sector all form a sector block known as Sirius sector block. And within these three sectors, or the Sirius sector block, there is one set of duty officer missions. And again, if we look at them here, look, there's different. Now the diplomatic missions are gone, but we still have some science, we have some exploration. This time we have a colonial, we got some more trade, and we have development. So again, they are completely different. If we cross the border here or here, or anywhere here, right? Basically, if we go outside of these three sectors, we are going to get a new or different batch of duty officer missions. So what we'll do is we'll actually plot a course, and we actually went north of the sector, and that's why it changed. And look, hey, it's changed again. But we'll ignore that for now, and we'll look for when we cross this border. We'll see that the missions will update once more. Right there, that's right. It's back now to what it was when we originally came out into the Sirius sector block, and we're coming close to the edge of the border now. And you'll see once we pass that line, these will update, and we'll get another set of duty officer missions. And there they go, right there. Now look, we got another diplomatic one available. We have some science. We have military this time, exploration, espionage this time, some colonial, and development. So this sector, this sector form another sector block called the Regulus sector block. This one, and this one form another sector block, which the name of which completely escapes me now at the minute. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it is. These three sectors form a different sector block, these three form a different sector block, and these three form a different sector block. These six form one, and these six form one, as far as I remember. There is a map that you can Google, and you will be able to see where all of the different sector blocks are. But if you're doing duty officer missions and you're flying somewhere and suddenly they change, and you're trying to figure out what the hell happened there, you know, like why did they change? It's probably because you just went into a different sector block, okay, and there's a different set of missions. But remember, the sector update is for every single sector and map in-game. Alright, so remember, we had one set of missions on ESD, we had another in Sol system, we had another set then for the Sirius sector, we have another set for the Regulus sector, and so on. And this time now, in 13 minutes, all of them are going to update, and there's going to be another batch of missions in every one of those locations, and all the other locations that we haven't been to. When you go to department heads, department head missions also update as well according to sector, or current location, I should say, is probably the best way to put it. So if we see here now, right, we went to first officer, and look, there's a nice batch of diplomatic missions from the first officer, and if you're looking for diplomatic missions, first officer is the one to go to. We have just crossed the border back into the Sirius sector block, and if I go back to department heads and then click on first officer, look, a completely different set of duty officer missions are available now from the ones that were in the regular sector block. So remember, they update as well according to location. Very important to keep that in mind. If we click on roster, you can have a maximum of 500 duty officers within your crew, I suppose is the best way to put it. When you start off, you have 100 duty officer slots, and you will probably get about, I don't know, 30 or 40 duty officers to start off with. Actually, it might be 20 when you start off, but as you continue to level up, you'll get even more. As you level up. Your brig is where any prisoners that you have or may have in the future, that's where they will be stored. They are completely independent from your officer roster. And then passengers are colonists, and again, you can have 20 of them at any one time, and they are separate and independent from your officer roster as well. Right, the next thing I want to show you guys is I want to go down to Starfleet Academy, and actually I just realized I'm going to have to cancel some of those duty officer missions that I just started up, but that's not a big problem really, actually, now that I think about it. I want to show you how you can recruit duty officers for 100% free. And you can do this over and over again to your heart's content, and it won't cost you a dime. Right, so I am going to abort some of these duty officers' missions. I just have to find the ones that I want to abort. This one. And this one. I think I need 7 to abort. Abort that one. I want that one. I want to abort that one. Okay, I think that's 7. Right, okay, so we are down at Starfleet Academy. There's the main building, building number 2. There's the San Francisco or Golden Gate Bridge, just to get your bearings. So if we just go along the outside of this Starfleet logo in the garden there, and go up to this Vulcan here. You can see it has the duty officer icon above its head. And we interact with them. We can do what is called a Vulcan cultural exchange. And the mission lasts 20 hours, and basically you have a 91% chance of getting a success and a 9% chance of getting a critical success. If you get a normal success, you will get one random free duty officer. If you get a critical success, you will get 3 random duty officers, and they can vary in quality. The highest I've ever seen is a rare coming out of any of these. I've never seen a very rare come out of them. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. Right, so if we do a 180 and we head to the far end of Starfleet Academy. Actually, let's kick in a speed boost here. We'll get there a little bit faster. Round the back of this building, we can see there is a Tellarite and an Andorian. And if we interact with them, we can see we can do another cultural exchange, this time with the Andorian. Same thing applies. Begin the assignment, and it lasts 20 hours. In 20 hours time, we will have 1 or more free duty officers. We go to the Tellarite, we do a Tellarite cultural exchange, same deal again, 20 hours. Now, once those 20 hours are up, those missions go on a 24-hour cooldown, meaning that you cannot do them again for another 24 hours. So it takes 20 hours to complete the mission, and then it goes on a 24-hour cooldown or lockout before it can be done again. Now, if we go into this area here and we talk to the personnel officer, and we click on Submit Request for Personnel, we can see here we have General Recruitment, Tactical Recruitment, Engineering, Science, and Civilian Recruitment. And there's also Request R&D Assistance down here. First of all, General Recruitment, I completely 100% recommend stay the hell away from this mission. It will cost you 1,000 dilithium in order to carry out the mission. And in my opinion, dilithium is too valuable to waste on a random set of duty officers when you can just do all the other missions and get them for free and it doesn't cost you anything. So stay the hell away from general recruitment. However, Tactical Officer Cadre, we can do that one. And we can see here we have the same success rates for them. If we get a critical success, again it will be 3 duty officers, and they are random qualities. I've never seen them go above rare. This time though it is 48 hours, and again the mission goes on a 48-hour cooldown. Once that 48 hours is complete, the mission goes on a 24-hour lockout before it can be done again. So a good thing to do is to come back here basically every 3 days, and you can do these missions over and over again every 3 days. It's a good habit to get into. Now, I done Tactical Engineering, Science, and Civil Corps Recruitment. The Request R&D Assistance, just like the General Recruitment, also costs 1,000 dilithium, and in my opinion is not worth it. That's why I didn't do it, and I'm advising you not to do it as well. So yeah, every 3 days, if you come back here every 3 days, you can recruit brand new duty officers onto your roster for 100% for free, won't cost you a dime, and sometimes, you know what, you get some pretty good duty officers out of it. With every one of my characters, I always buy 100 slots, additional slots I should say, from the C-store, because you start out with 100, and believe it or not, you will actually fill that 100 slots fairly quickly, especially if you're working on it, you know, if you're recruiting new duty officers here at the Academy. So yeah, I would recommend buying 100 slots. You can buy 25 slots as well if you want, but 100 I think is better. It's more value for money as well. Now, excuse me. the next thing I want to show you, so this clearly was for Federation characters, alright, how you can recruit new duty officers if you are aligned to the Federation. You just come to Starfleet Academy. However, if you are playing a KDF aligned character, obviously you cannot go to Starfleet Academy to recruit duty officers because it won't let you get in there. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to show you guys a Romulan character that is aligned to the KDF and how they can recruit duty officers for 100% free. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to Kronos and you need to beam down to the Klingon Academy. Once there, you want to head over here to this little battle arena thing, and you want to go up here to the top and you want to talk to this personnel officer here, and you can do an Orion conscription order, okay? And same as before, 20 hours, goes on a 24-hour lockout, and the same stats and everything apply. Go straight down from there, head down this ramp, and just at the corner here you get a Nausicaan and a Gorn, and works the very same way as the Vulcan, the Tellarite and the Andorian. So this time we're going to do Nausicaan, and again we just start the mission. Alright, we close that down and we're going to head down here into this area where the bank, mail and exchange access is, and we are going to recruit from the personnel officer. And this is the personnel officer here, Imperial personnel officer. And just like before, we're going to submit a request for personnel, tactical engineering, science and civilian. We're going to stay away from the general recruitment because it is not worth it, as I have already mentioned, at least in my opinion. And we start up a new batch of duty officer missions. Perfect. Right, now here's the twist. I'm going to beam out to Kronos system. So I am on a Romulan character, and that character is aligned with the KDF. But I can actually recruit additional free duty officers from the New Romulus Command Center as well, okay? This is on top of the ones that I can recruit from... Where's New Romulus? There's New Romulus. This is on top of the ones that I just recruited from the Klingon Academy, okay? Alright, we'll kick in transwarp and we should be there in no time. Now, this is completely unique, I think is the word I'm looking for, to the Romulan faction. Because it doesn't apply to normal Feds, doesn't apply to normal KDFs, doesn't apply to TOS characters, and it doesn't apply to Jemadar characters. They are currently the only factions that are in-game at the moment. So this is 100% unique to Romulan characters only. Doesn't matter if they're Fed or KDF aligned. If it was a Fed aligned Romulan, then I would have recruited from Starfleet Academy, as you seen me do a few minutes ago, but this particular character is Klingon aligned, so I recruited from the Klingon Academy and showed you where the NPCs are that you need to talk to for that. But in either case, both Federation aligned and KDF aligned Romulans can recruit additional duty officers from New Romulus Command Center, and we're just about to go into New Romulus Command Center here now, and I will show you where that is. So beam to Command Center. Right, so we come out of the transporter room, we go down the steps, we turn right a little bit, and we're going down this corridor here, and we take a right, and we're going to go straight through into this room and stop at this console. Duty Officer Recruitment. Submit request for personnel. And look, we can do another batch of tactical, engineering, science, and civilian corps duty officer recruitment missions. They are completely separate and independent from the ones that you do at your faction HQ, and well worth doing if you're on a Romulan character. So you can actually recruit on the double. So yeah, that's pretty much basic introduction into the duty officer system, what it's all about. I have to say that the duty officer system is absolutely fantastic, because the best thing about it is, let's say you only have a limited amount of time in game, alright? Real life stuff is getting in the way. You've only got 5 minutes, you've only got 30 minutes in game, and that's it. You have to head off and go and do something else, you know, whatever that might be. And those 5 minutes you have in game, you can log into the game, you can set up a full 20 or 23 duty officer missions, depending if you've purchased the additional slots or not, and set up those missions, and each one of those missions continues to work even when you're not in game. So take this mission here with the 20-hour cooldown. I start that mission and the timer ticks away whether or not I'm on that character or not, or even in game or not. The timer still keeps on working away, which means that you can continue to earn XP, skill points, commendation XP, dilithium, and maybe a few other things as well, even if you're not in game. It is an absolutely fantastic system. It is so good, and anyone that has limited time in game, it can help them out so much. It really, really can. A truly brilliant system in Star Trek Online. Anyway, I guess we'll leave it there for now. Thanks a million for watching, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below and let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. My name is Winters, and I'll catch you next time. So until then, take care.